All right, so we've made it to the second week. This is Spirit Week for the seniors in our remote learning kind of experience in our remote learning world. So what better way than to let you know where I would vacation by having my vacation gear on, of course, and vacationing in the one place where we can vacation, our backyard. So you can see the twins and my wife, of course, are over there at the playground of our vacation spot, having a little fun. So we're going to go over there and meet them real quickly, and then we're going to take you to do our episode 3 kind of, I guess, experience, which is basketball with the presidents. We're studying the executive branch in civics and government, and like there's Dancing with the Stars, today we're going to do a little basketball with the president. So follow along, here we go. Again, this is our vacation spot. Fortunately, the sunshine is out, so we're celebrating the sunshine. I got my vacation gear on. The twins are happy. They're swinging, singing a little ABCs. That's my wife.
The sunshine song.
That's right. They're going to get ready for the sunshine song. So we're going to go back around to the front, and we're going to integrate 2 of the things that I maybe know the most about. That would be the executive branch basketball. So come along with me. We're also going to try to incorporate into our journey today some of the Spirit Week themes. Of course, we got the vacation spirit for today. Where would we be on our vacation? I don't have a pet, so you see that when we get to the basketball hoop out front here, that the best we could do in terms of our pets are to once again sponsor our activity with the Paw Patrol. We have our stuffed animal Big Bear watching us, and then many people, of course, vacation-wise, love to do a little Disney World trip, so we've got Mickey watching us. And of course, here we've got our court sponsored by none other than the Paw Patrol themselves. So here's how this is going to work. What we've created for you is a little activity incorporating the executive branch and presidents along with a little bit of basketball. So I'm going to give you an impersonation of several of the presidents as to what they might have looked like playing basketball. You're going to get a chance on our civics and government shared document to identify who you think the presidents are in our examples or our impersonations, and then based upon how well that you do collectively, we're going to answer those questions for you on the executive branch worksheet that you'll be working on at the beginning of next week. So I'm going to give you maybe a little clue, and then hopefully by the way the shots are taken, you'll get an idea of maybe who that president is. So we'll start kind of slowly, and then we'll kind of pick it up. But in order to do that, of course, we're now at the basketball court, and we're about to engage in our basketball with the president. So I've got to change out of course, my vacation outfit, and we've got to get to, of course, one of the other themes, which is the theme, of course, of colleges. So, of course, I'm wearing the colors of the college that I attended, which, of course, is Northwestern University. So we'll get out of the swim trunks and get into, of course, the basketball gear so that we are appropriate to all of the things that are going on. Let me get a couple of our additional props. Well, I guess I left them in the back, so we'll figure it out as we go. So anyway, here we go. As I said, basketball with the presidents. So we've created our court here relatively as best we could to scale. So we're going to shoot some free throws, and we're going to do it like we imagine the presidents would have done back in the day. So we're going to start, of course, relatively simple. The game of basketball, of course, wasn't around when this president would have been president, but I imagine this is how the president would have shot his free throws. And if the president wasn't shooting hoops, he probably would have been, of course, maybe crossing the Delaware or commanding troops in the Continental Army. So this would be his free throw. Oh, and he makes it. So that would be your first, that would be number 1 on the Google Doc as to who you think that president might be. This would be the next president, and if this president wasn't shooting hoops, he was maybe walking along the beach with his dog, although he was walking, of course, in a button-down and a cardigan and business slacks And this, of course, was after his advisors told him that maybe he needed to relax a little bit more. And if he wasn't shooting hoops, he was probably trying to get us out of the conflict in Vietnam. So I imagine this is how his free throw would have looked. I am not a criminal. I am not a criminal. That would be number 2 as to the impersonations of presidents shooting hoops, okay? So now the next one you should pick up simply by how the shot is taken. Maybe a more recent president, one that has been in the news of late because of all of the healthcare issues that are going on, and one that was maybe given credit for having established more of a universal healthcare than we've ever had before. Also one of the few lefties of our presidents. Oh, I didn't make that shot. I don't read that. All right, anyway, maybe we'll give that president one more try. Here we go. One more try for this president. I'm not really left-handed, but that's about the best I can do. All right, continuing before we get to our next president in the theme of colleges. Now we see my university. So now we'll get to the next college that we're going to support and display. That would be the Iowa State Cyclones, which of course is the university of my middle daughter, Sophie. So we're celebrating the Cyclones. Now this president, a little bit more modern president, one that considered to be more of the athletic presidents that we've had, but also one that was maybe, as far as we know, not necessarily involved in the sport of basketball, but very famously threw out a first pitch in the city of New York just after the events, of course, of 9/11, and very famously at Ground Zero said to the nation that I hear you and the rest of the nation will soon hear us all. So this is what I imagine his free throw might look like. Oh, and he makes it. So that would be, let's see, we went with first, second, third. That would be our 4th president impersonation, I believe. So we're going to finish it with one, although I guess I might need a little bit of a different prop. So you hang on right there. I'll be right back. Take a pause. Okay, now we're good. So we're back. We're gonna continue with the college theme. We're getting out of the college of one of my daughters and into the college of my next daughter, my oldest daughter, senior, of course, and like many of yourselves, facing the challenges of wondering what's gonna happen with senior prom and what's going to happen with graduation and how all that's going to go. We don't know how it's going to be, but hopefully, at least in the area of Maine South or in Hawkland, hopefully it's a matter of things being postponed as opposed to anything being canceled. So our next presidential impersonation requires a tie, because I got to imagine that if this gentleman were ever to play basketball, he probably would play in a tie, because I'm not sure he knows anything else to do. I don't have a red tie to really embody this president, but I think you could probably figure it out. And if I don't make it, then whatever this is posted on would, of course, be fake. It would be fake news, of course. Oh, but even he makes it as well. So that would bring us then to our last presidential impersonation. Once again, we're going to don college gear. So we're going to take off the University of Kentucky, the Wildcats, and my oldest daughter Isabel's university. And I almost can't put this on because it's a rival to mine, but it's where my wife went to school. And it's also where our last presidential impersonation attended school as well as an All-American center. So in the spirit of the All-American Academic Center from the University of Michigan, I imagine if this president, the only president ever to have served as vice president and president, never having been elected to either of the offices. So there's a little clue for you. I imagine this is how his free throw would go. Oh, pretty close. I'll give it maybe one more try. That was actually online, surprisingly. So we'll give it one more try. Here we go. So this would be that president I mentioned. Ready, set. Hey. Oh well. So we'll let that one go. All right, so that brings us then to the final impersonation. This one we thought we might have a little fun with. Also in the spirit, of course, of the week. So this would be, of course, paying homage to that where we all attend, where I've been a teacher for the last 26 years, teaching now in a unique circumstance that nobody could have ever imagined. We've got, of course, our Maine South gear ready to now actually imagine that these individuals would be people that are familiar with basketball. So this first impersonation, I got to imagine, would be very technical, understand the X and the O's, probably forgotten more about basketball. What's that?
Make sure you tell them it's staff.
Yeah, this is now Maine South staff, correct. So, as I said, this individual's probably forgotten more about basketball than I would have ever known. That might give you a clue. He also came up with the acronym, as I mentioned in my second episode, of BEEF, which is the idea of balance as you address your free throw, setting your elbow, establishing your eye for the rim, and then being able to follow through. So with all that said, I'll watch me probably miss it on his behalf, but this is what I had imagined the shot will be. Oh, it's automatic. Beef, balance, elbow, eye, and follow through. There, back up. So, okay. All right, so this would be the next impersonation. This gentleman also has been around Maine South for a long, long time. Multiple sport coach, stand out in his department, involved in football and basketball, and also one who's been there one more year longer than I have. At one time served as a department head, now as a PE teacher. And I got to imagine that this would be his free throw as well. Oh, again, it's money. So now we'll finish, of course, with the one that might be most important, although I don't really have the formal ability to get to this impersonation, because if I did, I'd probably have a snare drum strapped around my chest, and I would be setting in some type of a line, as my most familiar place would be probably in a drum line. However, this individual is and does have a history in athletics, most specifically tennis, because when I was coaching tennis, he stepped out in full dress up, meaning dress shoes and pants and tie, and actually hit a few tennis balls with our tennis players. So this would be what maybe the leader of our school would look like as he shot free throws. Oh, better do that again. Maybe I didn't have enough zip or snap on my spare snare drum. So here we go. We'll try it again. Oh, that's money. There we go. So, all right. So those are our impersonations in our kind of, I guess, basketball with the presidents, and then just for kicks and giggles, maybe a little basketball with our staff. So you have a Google Doc that I shared with you that are running questions and answers for civics and government. You're into your second week. Put down who you think the individuals are that we were impersonating based on how the collective group does. That's how many questions we'll answer for you in our assignment that you'll get on Monday of next week, finishing off the executive branch with the Article 2 worksheet for the executive branch. So thanks for joining us here with our kind of activity for episode 3. We're going to finish with, of course, This evening, a dramatic reading, which I think will be fitting to our study of the three branches of government. So we'll share that by candlelight this evening. And then the other is we're going to integrate a couple of clips as to the fact that we've been able to enjoy, of course, the sunshine over the last couple of days and see what it is that we've been doing in the life of a quarantine teacher. So thanks for joining us for episode 3. We'll catch you at the end of the week. Be well and stay healthy. All right, welcome to our episode 3, the third dramatic reading in our series of remote / e-learning dramatic readings. Today's, or this evening's, as it were, dramatic reading goes right along with, of course, the topic of our study, that being the three branches of government, in particular right now the executive branch. So you can see that our book this evening is The Baby's Big World, U.S. Government. So I'm going to sit here as we've done before and we'll go along for the journey. We'll watch and look at the pictures on this one. Baby's Big World, U.S. Government. The government makes laws and helps protect people. People from England traveled to the New World for a better life. The people decided to be an independent nation. Hopefully this is familiar to you. The Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution. These, of course, are the laws of the land. The Bill of Rights includes freedom of speech. The capital of the United States is Washington, D.C. This, of course, is where the government goes to work. Legislative, executive, judicial. Government has 3 branches, each with a special job. The president is head of the executive branch. The executive branch enforces the law. The president lives in the White House. Maybe not on top of the White House, but in the White House. The legislative branch is made up of the Senate and the House of Representatives. They make the laws. The judicial branch decides how the laws should be followed. The Supreme Court makes big decisions that other courts have to follow. Americans vote for people they think will make America better. And that's particularly important, of course, this year as we have a presidential election in November. See you next week.